Hello, brothers and sisters of light and dark. Welcome to my page. My page is about common sense. I tried to keep it down and in the nitty gritty under 10 minutes. And if it goes over 10 minutes, it's something very, very, very important. It's not important to liberals, libertards, people who believe in God, people who like to smoke, people who like to drink, people like ayahuasca, people who do what everybody else likes to do. That's 80% of you. You should not be watching my videos. There's a method to my madness. And of course, if you have any comments, questions, insults, or even rose fest, you put it down below. Alright? So I'm going to make this video short because I'm pretty sure I think I did make it, but I didn't. Don't ship products or electronics to Africa. From my experiences, sending electronics will cost you extra money because their postal service is not up to date. So whatever money you're spending on the side of the United States, be for sure that they won't be able to pick it up when they arrive. I sent packages to the Kenya. I sent packages to the Ethiopia. And of course, I'm pretty sure that's like this all over the place. Sending electronics is bad. And also, here's another thing too. Again, so let me repeat this again. Sending electronics like phones and iPads and computers, not recommended. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's better to purchase those items in their country because what's going to happen is that when you get into their country, they're going to overcharge you anyway. So let's say if you see Samsung Galaxy 6, you know Samsung Galaxy 6 is you got to bring it in your own pocket. You better put it in your own pocket, man. Samsung Galaxy 9, 7, you better buy it. Make sure it's unlocked. And that's another thing too, purchasing phones and stuff that's not unlocked regionally will not work in their countries because their countries are underdeveloped, and these is just the basic facts. Okay, they don't have everything up and running. Also, when you enter the country, don't come with too many extravagant electronics. They won't understand what an Xbox is. They don't understand what a PlayStation is. So don't leave those alone. Because when I traveled to Ethiopia, however, they took my giant TV. And what happens is that I'm a tourist. I told them I'm a tourist. I'm a photographer. I got to record things and shit. So they took one of my TVs without understanding the concepts of what it means. So they wanted to charge me a VAT tax for bringing it in. And I said, I'm not keeping it here. So what's the purpose of charging me anything? So there was some sort of debate or something like that. And then you know what's going on too. They won't even allow you in Ethiopia to record as soon as you land. They'll say, put that up, put that up. Because you know their whole shit is not together. That goes for any other country. So just keep your camera in your pocket. So you want to fuck nobody up. Nobody want to snatch shit from you because you're American, right? Because you know how to fight, right? So you already know. You're not going to be going in the country just showing off your flagship. Okay? You ain't going to be doing that because what's happening is that they see you and they assume that you're American. One poor Gambian will tell another poor Gambian. It's kind of like living in the hood in America. Okay? You don't want that. You don't want a bunch of goombas, coming up on you, running up on you. They ain't got no weapons. The only thing you need to do is beat their asses, okay? Because they're poor, right? So that's all I really wanted to say about that. So I ignore everything that is said to me because people give me a lot of hate and stuff like that because I make videos in their country and I'm just honest and goofy about it. They always say stuff. Let them run at the mouth. Let them run at the mouth because they're cowards, okay? It's usually the people that's talking. It's usually people who are stationed in America and they see your video. Because out there in their countries, they don't have the internet as much. They don't have it like that. So they'll just start talking to fellow Gambians who they're not related to anymore in their country to try to get you. And you ain't gonna worry about none of that shit. Because that always happens to me when I travel to other countries. I say, hey, I'm going into countries regardless. I ain't breaking no laws. As long as you got everything with approval on the video, you're okay. If someone calls you a pedophile or some shit and they start running your mouth, don't worry about that. Because the authorities have no interest in doing all that stuff. Because their countries are so poor. Don't have time to do on that background check and shit. 9 times out of 10, if you was a criminal or a felony, you wouldn't be able to travel anyway. You wouldn't be able to travel. But other than that, since I ain't got to worry about that shit, I say you guys who's thinking about threatens and all this other stuff, just don't worry about it, okay? Just do what you got to do. Do what you got to do when you get out there. Now, I don't go out to countries to do sex tourism, and I don't exploit women, like I said. But there are people who just hate on you because you're doing something completely different. And I want to recommend another thing too. It is not recommended to start any businesses out there. Okay? Unless you want all of the overhead and even the government to come after you guys. I talked to a couple of crackers out there who told me about the consequences of you being a white person starting any business, especially when it goes to agriculture, farming, and you have more knowledge than they do, they're gonna try to pull you out of that country. Because I think it happened in South Africa, right? In which this white family was moved out of their countries. The own people, they were born there. White folks are born in those countries, and they have more knowledge than their own African people. So they want to move them out of there, but they're not supposed to do that. You know, so it's a form of colorism. There's a form of racism going on with white folks now. And I was shocked. I said people need white folks. I don't understand. People need Chinese people. I don't understand that either. You're supposed to be working together. You're not supposed to be looking at people's race and shit like that when they have more knowledge than you. But that's what happens. Duh, that's what happens. So how the way I can handle that is not to start anything out there. Unless it has something to do with the government. Let the government handle all that shit. Do not start businesses in poor, underdeveloped countries. They will come after you. Horror stories. That's about some expats who's actually going out there doing generator powers, electric powers, and all that stuff. Anything that has to do with building the country, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. You've been already warned. Okay? Because I've been out there. I've been out in those countries. I'm trying to tell you why it's not really necessary to do that, because they'll get jealous. And they're poor, so they'll try to either put you in jail because of some circumstances, some bullshit that happened because they don't have the knowledge, but they want to get you. All right? Especially if you're white. So be careful. You've already been warned. Okay? All right? Other than that, what else is there to say about that? You know, I really ain't got nothing else to say, you know. Everything is fine, okay? That's it. Don't mail electronics. Make sure you label it as a toy or something. They still probably open it up and then they say, oh, no, this is electronic. We're going to charge you a fat shit. And that should be like expensive as hell. Fuck, when I sent my wife over there to Kenya, and she was like, I have to pay for it. I'm like, they might have to pay. I was charging extra $60 for that shit just to get it out. And then on top of that, the phone didn't work because they didn't have the tools or the utensils to unlock the phone, which I had to do myself to get authorization from my company, which is a bullshit, okay? But it's okay, you know. But other than that, you already been warned. Don't send anything big or electronics. Make sure it's some sort of food product or package. Don't send no electronics because they make a killing over there. They try to VAT tax every country. That's why the country's poor, because of greedy people. White folks are much more family oriented than black folks. We sure already know this is a fact throughout generational time in history, because you know there's some things in mental psychosis and through genetics that proves this, but nobody really want to do that information. They don't want to. They call that racist. Okay, if you do any background research, generational research, eugenetics, and most people are not interested in this shit. They call it racism, and then you tell them where you got your information from, and they'll call you an idiot. Okay, but it's okay. I'm just trying to tell you. Now, if black folks were so close together, the world would be dominated by black folks. But too bad. It's been mostly dominated by white folks' imperialist powers through the Greek-Roman Hellenization. Okay, all right. So, other than that, everybody wants to be living in the European countries because they got their shit mostly together. It seems to be more like, you know, the more black you go, the more beautiful you go, but also the more stupid you go. Okay, it's a fact, man. I'm not content with that fact. Okay, I'm not going to be debating that fact when I was doing my own research. I found it myself. I was like, this is crazy. But the more beautiful you are, the more stupid you become. Okay, and I think this relates to also whites too in a sense, but most of the time, you know, there's a reason why we have a history of why you hear Vikings and the Norse mythology and all other bullshit saying never sleep with the color people, okay? But there's a reason for that. But I'm not going to get into the details of that because I was reading all sorts of crazy shit and hypotheses about it, but they each his own. You already been warned. You have a nice day, and I hope you guys understand that I'm not your average man, and not your beat up man. Hey, y'all have a good day, okay? You take it easy now. Peace.